Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Hey guys, we're your hosts, Em and Jay, and since it's Christmas time, we wanted to take a look at the He-Man and She-Ra Christmas special. It's the holiday season, so that means having Christmas and holiday specials for cartoons, even if they're a little forced. Kinda like the Star Wars Christmas special, or He-Man and She-Ra. It's only 44 minutes long, but the plot's pretty convoluted, and the writing isn't very strong. Skeletor is probably the best part of this special. The special begins with preparations for Prince Adam and Princess Adora's upcoming birthday, which is the first time the twins will be able to spend their birthday together. Even the Etherians have come to help out. And it is fun to see the He-Man and She-Ra characters together, but is it a good idea to leave Etheria unprotected from the Horde? I wonder what they're doing while most of the rebellion is on Eternia. Queen Marlena comments that this reminds her of when they used to prepare for Christmas when she was on Earth, but she notices that Adam and Duncan aren't here. Elsewhere, the two of them are working on a sky spy to spy on Skeletor, although it isn't very discreet. It's just a rocket ship. Orco overhears them and decides he wants to take a closer look, so he gets inside and starts messing with it, only to break a lever and set the rocket off. Clearly this can only end well. Skeletor immediately notices a sky spy, which is literally the opposite of what they wanted out of a discreet spying tool. Maybe they shouldn't have made it a giant rocket, but he gives chase. Adam and Duncan are watching this happen when Adora comes in, asking what's going on. They tell her that the sky spy launched on its own, and now Skeletor is chasing it, so Adam decides to transform into He-Man and go after it, and Adora decides to give him some backup. He-Man fights off Skeletor, making quips the entire time, but as soon as Skeletor gets the upper hand, She-Ra shows up, and the two of them take care of Skeletor. Orco tries to use his magic to land the Sky Spy, but his magic has always been hit or miss, so in the spell he says to take him someplace safe, so instead of just landing on Eternia somewhere, the Sky Spy shoots off into space, and ends up taking him all the way to Earth. I get they need the Christmas tie-in, but couldn't they have found a less contrived way to get them to Earth? They already have a connection to Earth with Queen Marlena. This is the twins' first birthday together, and Adora still doesn't know much about Eternia and her family, so she probably could have tried to get to know her parents better, and then Queen Marlena could have used this as an opportunity to tell her about her home planet. Then she could take them to Earth so she could celebrate for the first time in over 20 years, and then Skeletor could probably invade the planet. Maybe bring Horde Act 2, this is the He-Man and She-Ra Christmas special, but instead it's just the result of a rogue spell. Skeletor wants to keep chasing the Sky Spy, but the damage that He-Man and She-Ra did to their ship is causing the autopilot to take over, and it's taking them back to Snake Mountain, which upsets Skeletor so much that he jettisons his entire crew outside of the ship. At least he gave them a parachute beforehand. I love how petty and vindictive Skeletor is. He's such a fun villain. Orco lands on Earth and he looks around a bit, unsure of where he is, when he hears cries for help. He finds two kids who are about to be caught up in an avalanche, and uses his magic to rescue them. The kids are Miguel and Alicia. They got lost while trying to get a Christmas tree, and for the most part they're pretty chill about meeting an alien. Orco makes no attempt to hide it and just tells them he's an alien who crash landed on their planet, and says they should all get in the ship to get warm. Once inside, Orco starts asking what a Christmas tree is, so the kids start explaining about the holiday and its traditions. Meanwhile on Eternia, Adam and Duncan are trying to find the Sky Spy, when Queen Marlena, Adora, and Teela come in with some news. Orco is missing and they found one of his magic books near the launch pad, so everyone figures out that Orco's the one who launched the Sky Spy and he was probably in it. They're able to track the ship's coordinates and Marlena recognizes that it's on Earth. Teela's worried that means they'll never get Orco back, but Earth can't be that far away. Every time Earthlings get lost in space they end up on Eternia, and apparently it works the other way too. Duncan thinks he can get it back with his transport beam, but it's powered by a water crystal that can't be found on Eternia. Why would he design a machine that has a power source that can't be found on Eternia? That makes no sense, Duncan. But Adora thinks it could be found on Etheria, and if it's in the water, Mermista should be able to help her find it, so She-Ra has to go on a side quest to get this crystal. So on Etheria, She-Ra tells Mermista about the crystal they need. She says she knows where one is, but it's going to be difficult to get, because it's in a deep pool that's protected by a monster. You really had to go with the most inconvenient option for a power source, didn't you, Duncan? It's going to be dangerous, so they decide to work together. She-Ra will distract the monster while Mermista gets the crystal. So She-Ra confronts the beast monster, which which looks like a cross between a dinosaur and the Loch Ness Monster, and after a short fight she traps it in some ruins and gets the crystal from her Mista before going on her way. But as she's trying to get back to Eternia, she ends up running into these giant robots. These are called the Monstroids, giant evil robots who can transform, kind of like the Decepticons. They trap She-Ra and the Swiftwind before heading off, but She-Ra's able to escape by lighting her sword on fire and cutting her way out, and the two of them are finally able to get back to Man-at-Arms. On Eternia, Man-at-Arms puts the crystal in the machine, and it powers up. Back with Orco, the kids have finished explaining Christmas and now they're all singing Jingle Bells, which is pretty cute. But they're interrupted by the transport beam. The kids are scared because they don't know what it is, but Orco recognizes it, so he tells them it's okay and they all stand in the light together, and the transport beam takes them, the ship, and their Christmas tree to Eternia. Adora, Adam, and Duncan are happy to see Orco again, but they're also surprised that he's got some kids with him. They're brought to the throne room for introductions, and so everyone can hear about Orco's misadventure on Earth. The kids are more concerned about getting home by Christmas than they are about being on an alien planet, but it turns out the water crystal needs to recharge before it can be used again, and that's going to take a few days. Come on, Duncan, you can design a better machine than this. The kids are upset about possibly missing Christmas, so Queen Marlena suggests that they combine the twins' birthday with Christmas so they can have a big party together, without even asking her kids if they're okay with combining their birthday with this Earth holiday they've never heard of. Alicia's fine with that, but she's worried Santa won't be able to find them. What about your parents? That must be the worst Christmas for them. But the Queen says not to worry about Santa because he'll find them. Adam asks who Santa Claus is, and then Orco makes this big deal about how everyone knows who Santa is, while Miguel and Alicia just laugh. Elsewhere, Horde Prime is very disturbed because he senses some new spirit of goodwill that he's never sensed before. He freaks out and summons both Hordak and Skeletor, and informs them that this spirit of Christmas arriving on Eternia could be a threat to his rule, so he wants them to find it and destroy it, and they'll be rewarded if they can pull it off. The animation of classic He-Man and She-Ra isn't very good, but I've always liked the animation on Horde Prime. I feel like it gets across how menacing he is, this cold robotic machine, despite him being scared of Christmas. Back on Eternia, Bo and Perfuma are looking after the kids. Bo asks them how they like Eternia, and they say everyone's nice, but they miss their parents. At least they do care about their parents, and they're not just worried about Santa not finding them. Perfuma says not to worry and they'll be home soon, and in the meantime she'll make it feel like spring, so she conjures up a bunch of spring flowers. But Miguel tells her that Christmas actually takes place in the winter, so she replaces them with poinsettias. Bo decides to write a Christmas song, and it's okay. It's mostly about love and caring, and it's kind of generic, but it makes Miguel and Alicia happy. Unfortunately, Hordak comes to spoil everything. In his questionably designed ship, he kidnaps Miguel, Alicia, and Orco, and freezes Bo in place so he can't do anything about it. And I don't know what Perfuma was doing during this, unless she was also frozen and they just didn't show it. He takes them to Etheria, which is in another dimension, so Duncan can't track them, so Adora suggests going to Peekaboo for help. Meanwhile, the Decepticon knockoffs stop Hordak's transport and demand he turn over the prisoners to them. How'd they even know they were transporting prisoners? It's not like they were on Eternia. They don't have any context for what's going on. Hordak initially refuses, but the Monstroids threaten him, so the Horde begrudgingly leaves the kids and Orco behind. Apparently the Monstroids want to lure Horde Prime there using the kids as bait. They never explain their motivations for wanting to go after Horde Prime though. I guess the Monstroids are like Hunga. They're neutral in the fight between Etheria and the Horde, but they're still evil, and will attack both sides. Meanwhile, He-Man and She-Ra go to Peekaboo, who uses her foresight to find out about the Monstroids, but she's also able to see that they have allies. It turns out the Monstroids have an enemy called the Manchines, who keep an eye on them, and were able to find out that they were kidnapping people, so they've launched a rescue attempt, and He-Man and She-Ra rush off to help them. In the cell, Orco is lamenting their situation. Miguel and Alicia try to cheer him up. I really don't know how these kids managed to be so chipper after all of this, but suddenly they're visited by a Manchine. His name is Cutter, and he's there to help them. He cuts his way through the bars so the three of them can escape, and then they're joined by Cutter's cousin Zipper, a Manchine with super speed. Unfortunately, they're cornered by 4 Monstroids, who demand the kids get back in their cell. Luckily, He-Man and She-Ra show up just in time. The two of them fight the Monstroids while the Manchines call for reinforcements, and together they're all able to take out the Monstroids. Alicia ends up finding a Manchine puppy in the middle of all the fighting, which she's happy about, but Skeletor ends up finding them. Orco tries to save them, but he can't stop Skeletor. who gets away with the kids and the Machine puppy. Orco rushes to tell He-Man and She-Ra, who get ready to go after them, but Skeletor traps Swiftwind in spikes, so they can't follow. Skeletor cackles that he's gotten away with it, but Hordak can't let Skeletor get Horde Prime's favor, so he blasts them out of the sky, and Skeletor has to make a crash landing, but not before getting a hit on Hordak's ship, so he has to turn back to make repairs on his ship. He-Man and She-Ra do manage to free Swiftwind, but by now Skeletor and the kids are stuck on a mountain, and Skeletor orders the kids to start walking. The kids aren't too concerned about that because they're too busy freezing to death, and say that it's too cold to move, no matter how much Skeletor demands. They ask him to be nice because it's Christmas, but he doesn't know what Christmas is, so they explain that it's a time of loving and caring, but he just responds that that explains why Horde Prime wants to get rid of it so badly. Alicia ends up passing out from the cold, but he insists that they continue. Skeletor, she's literally passed out. She can't walk if she's dead. Skeletor thinks it over and ends up conjuring up some coats for them, which they're very thankful for, and say that he's very nice, which he's offended by. So they get to walking, but Alicia turns out to pick up the Machine puppy Relay. Skeletor demands that they leave the dog behind. He doesn't really give a reason for this. Maybe he's just trying to prove he's a jerk after being called nice. But Relay whimpers and the kids keep saying please, so he eventually relents, wondering what's come over him. The kids are really chill about being kidnapped by a muscular skeleton man. They keep calling him Mr. Skeletor and say he's very nice, except he's literally taking them to Horde Prime. Skeletor keeps insisting that he's not nice, but he does want to know more about Christmas.
Well, it's a wonderful time of the year. Everyone has lots of fun.
You mean they get in fights?
No, they have fun.
Fights are fun. I like fights.
Hawkgirl would say the same. They end up being attacked by a snow beast, and Skeletor saves the day by fighting it off. The kids praise him for saving them, and he actually smiles, which is really weird with the whole skeleton face thing. But he catches himself and insists that he's not nice or kind, and that he's still taking them to Horde Prime. He-Man and She-Ra show up to save them, but unfortunately Hordak shows up to kidnap them all over again. He demands Skeletor hand them over so he can get the credit from Horde Prime. Skeletor tries shooting him, but Hordak redirects the beam back at him and then mocks him for this. He-Man and She-Ra tell the kids to go while they take care of Hordak, but then Horde Prime's ship comes to collect the children, so the twins try to fight their way through to save them before it's too late. Skeletor is still KO'd, and Relay is crying trying to wake him. He probably just likes the taste of bones though. But Skeletor does wake up. He doesn't know why, but he's compelled to rescue the children. Turns out the Christmas spirit is strong enough to even affect Skeletor, so he sabotages Prime's ship, which is definitely going to land him in hot water. Prime tries to retaliate, but He-Man and She-Ra send him packing, so that takes care of Horde Prime for now. The kids give all the credit to Skeletor for saving the day, much to He-Man and She-Ra's surprise, since, you know, he's Skeletor. But even Skeletor is no match for the spirit of Christmas. He's really upset about it though, so She-Ra comforts him by saying that Christmas only comes once a year. Back on Eternia, everyone comes to the twins' birthday and Christmas party, and Santa even shows up to give the kids flying belts. Man-at-Arms sets up the transport ray to take them home, and Alicia asks Adora to get Relay back to the Machines. She promises she will, and they transport the kids back home to Earth. They're reunited with their parents. I'm not sure how long it's been, it doesn't seem like they've called the police or anything like that, but they are happy their kids are home. Miguel and Alicia start talking about everything that happened, but their parents think that they're just making up a story, and tell them it's time for bed and they can talk more in the morning. So the kids fly up to their rooms, literally. I'm not sure how responsible this gift is, but it's fun. Back in Eternia, Adora just unmasks Santa at the party, which is not a cool thing to do, but I guess she doesn't know that. Turns out it was Adam the whole time. His Santa costume actually isn't a bad disguise, especially since He-Man is just Adam with a tan. Orco breaks the fourth wall, wishing the audience a Merry Christmas. The special ends with Adam and Orco talking about the spirit of Christmas, and it's pretty cute in a really corny way, but still cute.
So that's how Christmas first came to Eternia. Not everyone celebrates Christmas, but the spirit of the Christmas season is within us all. It's a season of love and joy and caring.
Overall, this special was pretty cheesy and convoluted, but it's really nice to see Adam and Adora finally get to celebrate their birthday together, even though it was kind of upstaged by Christmas, and their birthday isn't even on Christmas itself. It's a few days beforehand, but they clearly had a lot of fun, and they deserve it, especially Adora after everything she's been through. Skeletor was probably my favorite part of the special. Seeing him slowly succumb to the Christmas spirit and hating every second of it was pretty funny. I do wish that they had worked on the script more, since it's pretty weak. weak. Why would Duncan create a spying mechanism that's extremely obvious and use such an inconvenient power source where they have to jump through a bunch of hoops to get it? They have plenty of technology on Eternia that's way more efficient. I get wanting to incorporate Etheria, but still. So overall, it's really not the best Masters of the Universe has to offer, but it had heart to it, and definitely a lot of Christmas spirit. So that was our opinion. What do you guys think? What's your favorite Christmas special? Ours is probably Muppets Christmas Carol, but we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment down below. Before we go, we want to give a shout out to our members: Caleb Nelson, Stutania, Tyrant Carnivore, Adam K, Shiny Orc Boy, Taylor Ramirez, The Rabbit Mancer, Dash Hound, Haley Kosheva, Ray Thulu, Hunter Rose, General Bolivar, Depth Charge Media, and Samaru163. If you want to become a member, you can hit the join button next to the subscribe button, or you can like and subscribe. That helps us out too. Thanks a lot for watching. We really appreciate it. We'll see you all in the next video. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays.